Hello, everyone. We are back after being gone too long, especially this time of year. I mean, we're getting a lot of good stuff now. Studios, of course, always wait with their big releases for award season, and we are suddenly in the midst of it. I've been waiting for these movies a long time, Pam,
Yeah.
yet there's a sense that this has crept up on me somehow, and I don't know why.
I think life and the world around us is so freaking chaotic that everything's going to sneak up on us.
You may be onto something there. You
Well,
may
and
be.
we also just got back from a lovely trip out to LA. It was a full 36 hours for a Netflix film that we'll talk about next week called Train Dreams. So I think that kind of stuff adds a whole lot to your perception of time and how it flies.
Perhaps, perhaps. Let's start with another Netflix movie, one I have been waiting a long time for, as I know you have.
Oh my gosh,
Uh,
I have been waiting with bated breath.
Guillermo del Toro's masterpiece, Frankenstein. He of course has been doing a lot of press for this, and he has said this is a movie he's wanted to make forever since he started making movies. And he said that the DNA of this you can find in every one of his films. I think that's a bit of a stretch, but I'm certainly not going to question him.
Right?
Uh, we are co-host on CBS Morning in Wisconsin. Frankie asked this morning, Frankie, how appropriate, uh, asked how many times and do we need another version of this? I know you think not. And for a while, I thought not as well. But with Del Toro, he has a distinct perspective on this story, and he makes it his own. He takes Mary Shelley's novel and he expands on things that I think need to be expanded on. He fleshes out some characters in a way they've never been before. And I loved his ending. His ending is one of reconciliation that I think is needed and gives a whole new twist to the story. Um, Oscar Isaacs is Dr. Frankenstein. He was told to play him like a rock star, as an arrogant, strutting person.
Oh, really?
Uh, yeah, Del Toro at one point said, "More Mick Jagger, more Mick Jagger," and that's what he said he was thinking of as he played the role. And you can see that this is an arrogant guy. He's also an angry guy because we see that his father, who was also a physician, had a horrible way of teaching him how to be a doctor. He was abusive, and he blames him for his mother's death. His father always had this arrogant attitude as well, that he was the best of doctors, but Victor blames him for not being able to save his mother, played by Mia Goth. So one of the reasons he becomes a doctor and wants to cheat death is to basically one up his old man, really. Uh, and he does research, and he gets to the point where he thinks he can pull this off, this whole notion of bringing a dead man back to life. And he finds a benefactor played by Christoph Waltz. This is new. This was not in the novel. But I really like this addition because
Mhm.
it gives us, it fleshes out this whole notion of how would he get the resources to do this. And the Waltz character has an ulterior motive for funding these experiments that I thought was really interesting as well.
Mhm.
Another change that occurs is that Frankenstein's young brother William is now much older in this version, and he shows up with his fiancee Elizabeth. Elizabeth is also played by Mia Goth, so you see a lot of subtext there with Victor being attracted to this woman who resembles the mother that he loved so much. Things go awry, of course, once the creature shows up, Jacob Elordi, and this guy is really something. Elordi is 6'7" in real life,
Oh,
and they
wow.
use his size to great effect here. This is a monster unlike one you've seen before as far as the makeup is concerned. Del Toro said he wanted to make him beautiful as he could be. And he does kind of do that, but of course, it's in a very gothic, perverse way, this beauty that we see in the creature. And Elordi plays him as a child, someone who's confused, someone who's eager for love, someone who doesn't understand the world that he's in. And of course, that leads to problems once Victor abandons him. Um, I know you had problems with the length of this film. but it is set up like the novel, in which we see the perspective of Victor first, the perspective of the creature second, and which takes us to the end in their final confrontation. Um, I loved the way he fleshed this out. I loved the way he expanded on the characters of Elizabeth and the sea captain. I loved how Victor changes as well. This whole notion that in an accident he loses his leg and he then has to graft on a prosthetic limb and he becomes part monster as well. I thought that was really, really a neat little aspect of this. And of course, in the end, we see that the creature ends up being more humane than his creator. Again, I know you didn't like it. I'm sorry for that. Del Toro, though, love him or hate him, he always goes for a home run. Whether he succeeds or not every time, of course, is open to questioning. But here, I think he gets it mostly right. And if nothing else, if this doesn't win for production design, they just should not give the award anymore, because this is a stunning visual accomplishment. That's all
I
I can say.
do not disagree with anything that, well, maybe one thing that you said. The length, it was way too long, and I think that I feel like it was separated. It's been a while since I've seen it into three chapters. We were introduced to Victor as a little boy. And I want to stop there for a sec and just kind of talk about that father-son relationship and how close little Victor was with his mother and how much he looked like his mother. That dark hair, those dark eyes, and then dear old dad, played by Charles Dance, he was blonde hair and blue eyes, and that was frowned upon. It looked like, to me, it was like that visual was like not appealing to daddy. And so because Victor reminded him so much of his wife, who I don't really think he cared about, whether or not he could have saved her in childbirth, we don't know. That's open to interpretation. But I think that that whole resentment toward Victor and what he looked like, I think that was an issue. And Del Toro does tackle those father-son relationships. We saw that in Pinocchio. Very similar with the theme as far as creating something and having a connection and the father-son relationship and how they both change. I loved that. Um, I think we just spent too much time in each of the chapters until the final chapter when we got to know the creature, played beautifully by Jacob Elordi. Um, I wanted more of that and less of, I don't know, maybe the first two chapters. I think the story was wonderful. I just think it needed to be consolidated a little bit more. I think I felt like I was hit over the head a little bit too hard in the first two chapters. And when the final one came around, I was like, oh my God, really? There's more? I loved the final one. I loved the ending. I loved the production design. I love the fact that Del Toro does not use CGI. That's bold
No,
and probably very expensive. It was incredible. That frozen ship, amazing,
yeah.
unbelievable. The makeup job, the castle that he's in, that is exactly what I pictured from parts of the book that I have read. I've not read the whole thing. So that I loved. I'm totally honest here. Um, I didn't dislike it. I just had issues with how he stitched it together, if you will. I
Ha
needed
ha ha!
a
Look what you
little.
did
I know
there.
I always have to throw something in there. I think Alex Cordetti's rubbing off on me. But I think that it would have. I've heard a lot of people complain about the length, and I think because it is so long, he's going to lose people because of it. And I think that had he have trimmed it, edited it a little bit more, I think it would have been probably perceived a little better by the public as well as from critics.
Okay,
Makes sense?
that's fine.
Okay. Okay. So check
We
it
are going to
out.
be we are going to be hearing a lot about this one though at the end of the year. I mean, it's
Right.
going to get a slew of Oscar nominations. If anything else, other than production design, I certainly hope Elordi is recognized as best supporting actor.
I hope so too.
Thought he was incredible.
Yeah, he really was. I do love how Del Toro delved into the father-son relationship and how that abusive relationship is passed down from generations because basically Victor was the creature's father,
Yeah.
and he found himself doing the same kind of shit that his dad did.
Yep. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I found that very intriguing and interesting, which is a little
Yeah.
too much stuffing.
So
Um,
what are we moving on to?
let's go to Nuremberg next.
Okay.
And I tell you, you're probably more of a history buff than I. Would that be correct, Chuck?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And I know my husband is like super into history. And so when I told him I was going to be watching Nuremberg, he went on about all the details about the Nuremberg trials. I'm like, oh yeah, it kind of rings a bell. I am not the best history student. I learned it for the test, and that was probably about it. However, when I experience something or I see something in movie form, it really hits home. One of my favorite shows is Drunk History. How fun! I learn a lot about history that way. We all have different learning styles. Anyway, so watching the concept is the Nuremberg trials took place right after World War II when Supreme Court Justice Robert H. Johnson, he was played in the movie by Michael Shannon. And Shannon, like he was very understated. It was a very small role, but he was very understated in it, but still was able to bring personality to that role as he quandared about should we try and bring these horrible human beings, these basic criminals who slaughtered millions of people, should we bring them to justice? Should we have an international tribunal, if you will, a trial? And that's what they did. They captured all of these men, specifically, God, I'm blanking on his name, Chuck,
Herman Goring.
who was, I believe, Hitler's right-hand man, along with several others that were involved in the orchestration of the Holocaust, basically. And then we bring in Rami Malek, and Rami Malek is hired. His character, Douglas Kelly, is hired as a psychologist, and he comes in to evaluate and monitor all of these criminals that are being held in this prison so that they can be brought to trial and have a fair trial. And then, if they find them guilty, be hanged. It was interesting because there were a lot of questions about, well, why don't you just shoot them now? Because you basically know they're guilty. But in the US, or at least it used to be, you are innocent until proven guilty, and they were bringing that concept to life as well. So we get to know Douglas Kelly, and we really get to know Herman Goring, played by Russell Crowe. And wow, what a performance! He is chilling, he's menacing, he's smart, he's conniving and manipulative. And all of those attributes are what brought him to the top of a really evil regime. Douglas Kelly tries to get into his mind, and he does, but Goring also gets into Kelly's mind, and that was that dichotomy that was so intriguing. How they were a match for one another, and how ingrained does Kelly become in Goring's life as he gets to know his family as well, Goring's family. Um, it was a riveting film to me. It was intriguing, it was insightful, it was educational, and these characters were true to life. I have to say and I didn't mention this on the show this morning. We reviewed this on CBS 58 out of Milwaukee. Um, I couldn't watch some of it. I had to hide my face, my eyes. I couldn't see some of the images. Those things haunt me, and I can't sleep after watching them. It's just such an atrocity. So I had a really tough time. If you have a hard time with that, just be warned. You should still see this because this is a part of our history, and we need to know what happened so that we don't repeat history. But just know that you might want to like cover your eyes for a few scenes. So I loved it. It was powerful. It was emotional. You should see this in the theater. Give it some love because the writer and director is co-writer and director, and that's James Vanderbilt. He hasn't done a whole lot, and what he has done has been like I think Scream 2 he did. Things that I wouldn't expect him to give us this type of a movie. So well done.
Yeah, I hope. My fear is that this one is going to get swept aside, and I certainly hope not. Um, I can't imagine Crow not being nominated for Best Supporting Actor for this.
Right.
He dominates every scene he's in, and the reason he's so effective is he doesn't play this guy as a monster. This is, not a broad performance. It's not over the top,
No.
and in underplaying it, that's what makes it successful. And you see just how evil he is
Yeah.
once and as you use the word, manipulative he
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. He's
Uh,
smart. Smart guy.
Very smart guy. And the fact, I mean, this is happening again. You know, these people, as I'm watching him and all his other cohorts, I'm like, yeah, I see these people in the news every goddamn day.
Right.
So yes, it needs, yes, you're right. And I say this all the time too. We need to see things, read things like this so it doesn't happen again, but it doesn't do any bad, doesn't do any good. Because people suck. And we are doomed to repeat things like this because we're stupid and we're easily manipulated. So maybe things like this delay it for 50, 60 years. But yeah, we are doomed to repeat this cycle, unfortunately. So there's your ray of sunshine from Chuck today.
There you go. On that ray of sunshine, I would like to point out Leo Woodall. He plays Sergeant Howie Trieste. He's the translator. He's got a story to tell that is woven into it in a beautiful and appropriate way, and he took my breath away.
Yeah.
It was, we talk a little bit. I think you do a better job of keeping track of scenes that move you in different movies. This one's going to stay with me for a long time.
And I want to mention Richard E. Grant,
Hmm.
the great English actor. As I was watching the film, I didn't know why he took the part because it's so small and
Yeah.
seemingly inconsequential. And then the third act rolls around, and then you figure out why he took that part.
Yep.
His contribution ends up being invaluable. So, yeah, I've seen it twice. Really holds up, and let's hope, like you say, it gets the love that it deserves.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. All right. Let's move on. Let's go. Can we go to Sorry, Baby?
Sorry, baby. Yes, let's. Yes.
Take it away.
Oh, take it away. I saw this film back in June. And this, of course, was one of those small films that doesn't get the publicity it deserves. It's released by Sony Pictures Classics. I'm glad that they got behind this film. I'm certainly glad that it was released in theaters. But of course, this is not the kind of movie that gets lines around the block. It is directed, written by a young lady named Ava Victor. She also stars in the film. And regrettably, I've read that this is based on some things that happened to her.
I can believe that. It was way too
Yeah,
real.
it was way too real. Where this film is way too immediate. You're right. And intimate in
Yes.
good ways and bad. She plays a young woman named Agnes. She is a grad student at a university. She's much better at English literature than any of her peers. And she gets the attention of her professor, Professor Decker. She lives with Liddy, played by Naomi Ackie. They are best friends. They can't do anything without each other. And the movie opens, I'm going to say, well, the timeline on this ratchets back and forth
It does.
pretty quickly. I'm going to say it opens up about 2 years, 3 years in the past. Lydia has moved to New York. She comes back to visit. And we can tell right away that Agnes, there's something wrong. She's fragile. There's something not quite right about her. And through a flashback, we come to understand that her professor, who she trusted more than anyone, as far as faculty was concerned, sexually assaulted her. And of course, it has had a profound effect on her. We see her after that attempting to cope with this. We see her attempting to go through her daily life. She gets a job that she's wanted. Unfortunately, it is the ex-professor's job, and she has his old office. So there are reminders and triggers all around her. She also has to deal with the resentment of Natasha, a fellow grad student who wanted the job she got and who is a spiteful human being. Uh, you know, we could talk about what this movie is about, but it's not going to do it justice. Um, this is a quiet film,
Hmm.
but it has an awful lot to say, and it says it so powerfully. And I think it's powerful because it is so quiet. It's powerful because she's so deft in how she handles this material. How she handles the sexual assault, I think, was stunning. Absolutely stunning. Nothing is shown at
Yeah.
all.
But you
We
feel it.
You feel it. You feel it. The way she handles that, I thought was incredible.
Yeah.
And you can't help but sympathize with Agnes. She gives a great performance because her vulnerability. She's just laid bare here, and you sympathize with her every step of the way. And one scene that stands out to me is she is having an anxiety attack, and she is driving while this is
Ah,
happening. She happens to drive into this parking lot, which is the parking lot for a sandwich shop. And the great character actor uh, John Carroll Lynch is the owner of the sandwich shop, helps her calm down, gives her a sandwich. They're talking. And you know how sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger about the things that are bothering you than someone close.
hmm.
And that happens. And just his response and the simple act of kindness that he shows her, I found to be incredibly moving because we need so many of those right now. I'm going to let you take it from here because I know that I'm not doing this thing justice. I saw it again recently. It's probably my favorite movie of the year so far, and I just hope that people find it. It's just come on HBO Max. Please, please watch this.
And I'm going to give everyone a heads up on this. It took me 2 attempts to watch this because the first 15 minutes didn't hook me and I gave up. And you encouraged me to go back, and I did, and I'm so glad that I did. That the opening, you got to forgive it. I don't. I think it's a little imperfect with that. I would have liked a little bit more to let me know that there's a story coming up. Um, I once we got past that first part where, we're in not quite the current day, but a little bit, maybe what, like 6 months before, and then that ratcheting, as you said, going back and forth in time, puts the entire story together. And oh my gosh, every this is a hard one to talk about.
It is. Yeah,
Every single scene is an important one, and every single thing that Agnes goes through is it's palpable. You know the emotions that she is going through. You can understand it. Some of us can understand it from a relatable experience, and some of us can just understand it as a human being. It is incredibly powerful. Um, yeah, and Agnes is a unique character. And she could be anybody and everybody when she goes into the emergency room to be examined, and she's got her best friend with her. That interaction with the doctor is horrifying. And boy, I tell you, when you've got a best friend like that, you've got everything. Their connection was beautiful. God bless America. I am gonna cry through 2 movie reviews today. Yeah, Naomi Ackie is incredible and balances her counterpart of Agnes beautifully. Um, I loved the friendship between the two of them. And yes, when John Carroll comes on screen to help her out, another beautiful scene. I mean, it's just one interaction after another. And I'm going to blank on the young man's name that
Lucas
Lucas Hedges plays
Hedges. Yeah,
Gavin. He's an important part of Agnes healing and understanding. And I guess some of it is we need to look at people and know that there's so much that we don't know about what happens behind closed doors. And
Yeah,
we all need kindness and forgiveness. And how can we, through our small acts of kindness, make this world a better place, one person at a time?
yeah, yeah. Just so many, we see so many movies during the year, and I look back at my list and I forget. Like, what was that? I
Right.
don't even remember that movie. I don't remember that. No, like say, I saw this in June, and a week that hasn't gone by where I haven't thought about it, where I haven't thought about certain moments throughout that. And that's a testament to, as you say, the subtle power of this movie.
Right. And the
Uh,
relevancy of this movie too, because this is still happening. These assaults are still happening. This people are getting away with it. And I mean, that's there's a Senate bill regarding that as well, and some pretty powerful comments about it. And our world is not a safe place. And in our schools, in our workplaces, it's not safe, and it's sad and scary and devastating. And yet, there's humor in this movie too, because I chuckled several times, especially
yeah,
Natasha, played by Kelly McCormack. She is the grad school counterpart and colleague of Agnes, and she's a horrible person. She's
it's horrible.
funny.
And I also chuckled with the whole cat interaction too. She
Okay.
finds a cat.
Okay, one in one scene it's a kitten, and the next scene it's all grown up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, again, we jump back and forth in time there, but yeah,
Mm, not in that one.
her finding this cat, and that was a fortuitous event for her as well. And when she brings it home, her roommate says, "Whatever you need."
Yeah, yeah,
She
and
doesn't want the
also,
cat in there, but whatever you need.
I used to be a speech language pathologist, as you know, and I'm in the midst of doing my continuing education units for my certification to keep that up. And I was listening to this seminar about how animals can be supportive in therapy, and just reminding me how important animals and nature are in our emotional stability and
Yep,
our healing process. And it's true.
yep. No doubt about it.
So,
No
all
doubt about it.
right,
So,
what's
yes,
the next one
sorry,
that I can
baby.
cry through?
Yeah, sorry, baby. Find that movie. What's the last one? What's the last one we're going to talk about? Are you going to cry to that one too?
We were gonna go through Begonia. We are running out of time, so
Yeah, I don't want to run out of time with Begonia because you and I obviously have a lot to talk about here. I am
yes.
going to mention in passing, those things how we don't have much time. Predator Badlands,
Okay.
number one movie at the box office last week. A lot of fun, much more fun than I thought I'd have. You have a predator with daddy issues. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He goes out to prove his father wrong, and Elle Fanning plays a cyborg who he
Right.
finds who's been ripped in half. So all we get is from the waist up of her, and he throws her on his back and hauls her around as they're going on this adventure.
Okay.
And it's like a buddy road movie, and it's at time. I mean, the action is good, but at times it's also just funny as hell. I was genuinely surprised by this one.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm
so
shocked.
me too. Me too, because I'm like, Predator, okay, they're fine. No great shakes. But yeah, it was a lot more fun than I thought it would be.
All right. Well, I will
So,
check
so
that one out. And you're right. We need to discuss Begonia in a little deeper way because we totally disagree on this one.
did you look up what the word means?
I did. I did.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, we will get to that next week then, I guess.
Yes, we will. And in the meantime, if you haven't checked out a new series on Apple TV called Pluribus, check it out.
Yeah, I like that one.
Oh, have you been watching it too?
I have. Yep.
Okay. All right. Good deal. All right. I guess until next week, we'll pick up this conversation with Begonia and probably Train Dreams and maybe Sentimental Value and see what else
And
is coming out
Wicked as well.
in Wicked as well.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Real Talk with Chuck and Pam. That's REEL talkwithchuckandpam.com. Check out our interviews on YouTube, and you can link everything up from our website.